Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. I actually didn't know that either, so that's great. So good morning, everyone. It is a real pleasure to be presenting the Helix Resources story to you all. Helix is an Australian copper company, and we are exploring in the prolific Cobar region of New South Wales, which is right in your backyard, 500 kilometres west of Sydney. So firstly, I do need to recognise our traditional landholders where we work to make our discoveries. Our landholder groups, our traditional owner group, their native title determination was only granted last month in a ceremony in Cobar. Let's have a quick look at Helix. So we've got a great board. Mike Rosenstrike is the chair and Manny Correa is the NED, and then there's myself as the managing director. Our share price sits at about 0.4 to 0.5 cents, giving us a market cap currently at around 13 million. So in June, we had 2.7 million in the bank. Now, in terms of the shareholders' investment, our exploration spend in the ground is pretty consistently at around 80%. You may have seen some recent announcements in the market regarding a new 12.4% shareholder who has announced a takeover intention. I can advise you that Helix has appointed advisors, and we are presently engaging with this shareholder. Now, Helix is strongly leveraged to copper exploration and discovery. We are at the New World Metals Conference, so that's quite pertinent. And I think copper is really probably one of the most well understood markets. The demand is underpinned by very strong fundamentals. I have borrowed a chart here from Sprott, and the demand's just forecast to keep on increasing as the world keeps growing. I do think there's a new kid on the block, and this is copper related to the infrastructure that is technology driven. So this is going to be all the copper that's needed to bring power to data centres, to hook up all those computers and run machine learning and AI. And if you've done any research into this area, you'll see that companies everywhere are sort of moving over into machine learning and AI. So I think all of us here would concede that copper demand is certainly here to stay. Now, Helix is firmly entrenched in the Cobar region. We hold a really significant land position, and we're exploring for copper, gold and base metals. Now, this is a proven region. It's got 150 years of metal production, and my job today is to demonstrate to you that that is not finished and exploration is not finished in this region. Now, have any of you seen that there's been some recent discoveries in the Cobar region? So there's a company called Australian Gold and Copper. They're just to the south here, south of the South Cobar deposits. And they very recently put out an announcement. They've discovered a sort of, a gold polymetallic deposit. In addition, there's the Federation mine by Aurelia. So that was only discovered in 2019 and it's been permitted and has just started production. So Cobar is an area where mining just keeps on going. Now, our eastern tenements are directly south of the Aeris Resources Tritton operations. And then to the south of us, Kingston have the Mineral Hill processing operation. In addition, Aurelia's got a couple of operations on the western side, but probably the biggest operator is the CSA copper mine. And just to give you an indication of the size of the prize, the CSA mine transacted a few years ago for well over $1 billion. So what do our assets look like? So this is a typical project pyramid. At the top of the pyramid, we're looking at the reserves, which are ready to go to mine. And at the bottom of the pyramid, this is the early stage targets. So Helix right now, we're sitting in the middle of that pyramid, right in that discovery space. I've divided that pyramid up into 4 areas, which reflect our 4 different tenement packages that I'll be talking about. And we have targets that we're following up, where we have done drilling and we've got high-grade gold and copper. And then we've also got a whole suite of new targets coming up this pyramid where we would like to be drilling this year. So look, discovery is a very exciting place to be. It's exciting for shareholders and it's exciting for the share price when you do make one. And we certainly saw that with the Australian Gold and Copper's recent Achilles discovery. Now let's delve a little deeper into what we're looking for. So this is the CSA copper mine. It is long-lived, it is very high-grade copper, and it keeps on giving. So the copper reserves and resources just keep being replenished in this mine. Now, if you went to WA and you found a gold project, you know that just because you find one gold lode, you keep looking for the rest of them. Now, these CSA type deposits are basically the copper variant of those WA gold lodes. They have enormous vertical continuity. They've got a small sort of pipe-shaped body, but they basically go from surface and at CSA go down 2 kilometres. So the message is if you find one copper lode, you keep on looking until you can find the rest of them. Right, let's look at our projects now. This is the Cobar project. This is an earn-in that we signed with Legacy just last month. Now this project is literally a stone's throw from that main Cobar trend. We're 3 k's from the Peak mine and about 13 k's to the CSA mine. Let's look in a little bit closer. Now, Legacy have done some good work here. They defined a series of nice geophysical targets through here, and then there's also an area of great anomalous geochemistry. It's a silver, which is maybe getting us thinking a little bit like the Australian gold copper story. At the moment, we are actually working on this project. We've designed surface geophysics surveys. We have boys in the field this week talking to the landholders and checking exactly where those surveys are going on the ground. And the results from those surveys will be used to plan the drill holes. I'm going to move to our western tenements now. This is where we are looking for those CSA-style copper deposits. The work that we've done shows that the mineralisation at Camballigo, which is our mineral resource, does look exactly like a CSA copper-type deposit. Now we're treating this area as a copper camp. So it's prospective for CSA copper. And remember, if you find one copper lode, you keep looking for the rest of them. So we have delineated a copper resource at Camballigo. It's nearly 32,000 tonnes of copper. We do have some evidence for some parallel western lodes, so it's starting to fit that CSA story. And being a small company, we have drilled this deposit down to about 500 metres. So rather than keep on drilling deeper, we know that this mineralisation continues to depth. Our strategy is to move over to a couple of the other anomalies in this area, called Bijou and Louis, and see if we can sort of pull up some more near-surface copper resources. Now, the Louis project, which is in the middle, it has a really interesting suite of copper anomalies. It sits in a wheat field, and there's no drilling there. And the whole southern area from Louis is basically unexplored. And I'm going to show you the Bijou project now. So at Bijou, we have a 2 kilometre long copper anomaly. It's very robust. And if you were looking for a Camballigo lode here, you would be looking for something that has a surface footprint of 300 metres. And we have done some drilling here, and we got some good copper sulfides and good copper oxides, but we have only tested a very small part of this anomaly. So we've only tested a small 200 metre part just in the middle of this anomaly. So to follow this up further, we've undertaken some surface auger sampling, and we're really looking for the sweet spots in this copper anomaly to bring in the next drilling program. We are looking to drill here at the end of this month. Now I'm going to move across to the eastern tenements, where it's been pretty exciting for us geologists. So first, let's have a look. Well, it's exciting if you're a geologist. Let's have a look at what we're looking for. So we are looking for a Tritton-style copper-gold deposit. So it's very similar to the CSA deposit. However, in this case, there's a bit of gold with the copper, which obviously makes these things like a bit more juicy, I think. And then Tritton is, that is the Tritton processing facility, which sits in a company called Eris Resources. And when you look on the map, I've pinched this picture from Eris. There are a whole suite of copper projects here, and they are very busily exploring up here. They've got lots of prospects. I've put in some little cross sections there of what those Eris copper deposits look like. They're pretty similar to the CSA deposit. They've got a small footprint and they extend down to depth. Now, if you can look on the map on the right, you can see that the Helix ground sits just to the south of Erris, and those trends in the Erris ground, where all those copper deposits are, just continue down to the south. Now, I think it's absolutely surprising that Helix have had this ground for so long, and we really only just started exploring it now. So you could call this a greenfields opportunity. I like to call it a bit better than that because I'm proximal to so many operating copper mines. So what we've done is we've rolled out the auger rig and we've done these big regional geochemistry programs in the areas where you can find outcrop. And in between those areas, there's these big alluvial plains, and we're going to have to bring an air core rig in to sample those areas. Now, what we do know about the Erris copper deposits is they have a really unique geochemical signature. And what happens is the copper gets depleted in the top and sort of washes away with all the water and the rain. But what's left behind is the gold, the arsenic, the antimony, and a few other pathfinders. So that is the information that the geologists are using to try and find these Triton-style deposits. Now, I'm going to show you some maps of the areas we're looking. It's that north, central and south. And this is a long zone. This is about sort of 80 kilometres here that we're searching directly south of the Erris projects. Now, these are the gold images. The image I showed you before was antimony, which sort of tells us there's something going on here. And now we're looking at gold. I really want to impress the scale on you. So these pictures are all at the same scale. That is a very small 2 kilometre scale bar. And these auger samples, you can see all the tiny dots are 200 metres apart. So this is a regional program. Now, if I was going to find a Triton in here, Triton has a surface footprint of 400 metres. And I think I can fit a lot of Triton-style deposits in this piece of ground that Helix has. So right now we're waiting for the crops to come out of these paddocks, and then we would like to move to air core drilling. Now finally, just a quick stopover at the Muriel Tank project. It's located here in the middle. Muriel Tank is 20 kilometres down the road from the Mount Boppy gold project. Mount Boppy is another fascinating